You're here because someone pulled away and it hurts. You want them back, not in a desperate, clingy way. You just know there's something real between you. But every time you reach out, it feels like you're getting further away. Now, before we dive in, here's the truth. You can't force someone to reconnect. What you can do is create the conditions that make reconnection not just possible, but desirable for them. So how do you do that with someone who's avoidant, someone who backs off when emotions deepen? Here's the first rule: stop chasing. An avoidant runs from pressure. Every "we need to talk," every "I miss you, please reply" is like turning up the heat when they're already sweating. You have to show, not tell, that you're okay without them, even if you're not yet. Why? Because an avoidant only feels safe reconnecting when they believe that being close to you won't cost them their independence. Second, create emotional contrast. Avoidants don't respond to guilt or sadness, but they do respond to lightness, joy, and unpredictability. Think playfulness, laughter, intrigue. When your energy reminds them of what felt good, you become a safe emotional space, not a trap. Third, mirror their pace. Stop texting paragraphs when they're sending you one-word replies. People reconnect when they feel seen, not overwhelmed. Let your communication reflect their level of effort, then subtly raise it only after they do. Fourth, raise your value quietly. Start showing, not shouting, that your life is full, friends, fun, growth, not to spark jealousy, but to spark curiosity. When they see you thriving, they remember why they were drawn to you in the first place, because you had a life before them and you're building one after. Lastly, invite, don't demand. You don't need to beg for time, love, or attention. All you need is to create moments that say, hey, you're welcome here if you're ready. An avoidant reconnects not when they're convinced, but when they choose. Remember, reconnection isn't a text you send. It's a shift in energy. It's the moment they realize you're not waiting, you're evolving. And if they want in, they'd better catch up. When someone with an avoidant attachment style pulls away, our instinct is often to do the opposite. Lean in, reach out, explain, convince, and sometimes even plead. We feel the space widening and we panic. But the truth is, chasing someone who's avoidant only deepens their need to escape. Avoidants are wired to protect their independence, especially when they feel emotionally flooded. What feels like care or love to you, frequent check-ins, long texts, emotional conversations, can feel like pressure and intrusion to them. It's not because your feelings are wrong, it's because their nervous system is responding to closeness as a threat. The key is to interrupt that cycle by stepping back, not as a game, not as punishment, but as a recalibration. When you remove the pressure, you offer them the one thing they subconsciously crave: emotional breathing room. You're signaling, I'm not here to take anything from you. I'm not here to corner you into feeling or saying something before you're ready. And that's when their defenses begin to lower, because now the connection isn't something they have to guard themselves against. It becomes something they can consider on their own terms. This doesn't mean going completely silent or stonewalling. It means no longer trying to control the outcome through your effort. It means not initiating multiple times in a row, not probing them for answers, not turning every interaction into an emotional performance review. When you stop chasing, your energy shifts from neediness to self-respect. That shift is magnetic, especially to someone who's scared of being engulfed. They notice when the emotional tug of war ends. They notice when your texts don't arrive on cue, when you stop reacting to their distance, when you start showing that you're secure enough to let go a little. Suddenly you're not confirming their fear that closeness equals pressure. You're quietly proving that closeness can coexist with freedom. And this is where the door opens. Avoidants often reconnect not because someone pulled them harder, but because someone stopped pulling at all. You give them a chance to feel their own curiosity again, their own desire to reach out. Not as a response to guilt, but as a genuine expression of interest. You can't force that moment, but you can create space for it to happen. The first step is to stop chasing and trust that stepping back isn't the same as giving up. It's giving them room to remember why they were drawn to you in the first place. Avoidant individuals tend to shut down when they sense emotional intensity that feels heavy, overwhelming, or filled with expectation. It's not that they don't feel anything, it's that they've learned to survive by minimizing emotional vulnerability. When you lead with sadness, frustration, or guilt in your attempts to reconnect, you're unknowingly reinforcing their core fear that intimacy comes with emotional burden. To trigger genuine reconnection, you need to bring back something they associate with safety, not stress. That something is emotional contrast, reminding them of the lightness, joy, and warmth that once existed between you. Emotional contrast means shifting your energy from emotionally charged or desperate to playful and unpredictable. Avoidants often distance themselves when every interaction begins to feel like it carries an emotional price tag. They start expecting drama, confrontation, or long conversations about where things are going. But when they encounter a version of you that feels emotionally self-contained, relaxed, and vibrant, it disrupts their expectations. And that disruption is powerful. You're no longer reinforcing the narrative they've built in their head where closeness equals intensity and pressure. You're offering them a different experience. You don't have to fake happiness or suppress your emotions. It's about strategically choosing when and how you show them the parts of you that are light-hearted and easy to be around. You could be a message that makes them laugh, a photo of something unexpected or fun, a calm, confident tone in your voice when you do talk. These subtle moments act as reminders of the emotional space where connection first sparks, not the heaviness that came later. The truth is, an avoidant will not re-engage because they feel sorry for you. They re-engage because something about your energy pulls them back in. Something that feels safe and familiar, but also pleasant. They want to feel good with you, not guilty. So when you tap into that emotional contrast, when you lead with curiosity instead of complaints, when you bring levity instead of longing, you become someone they feel drawn to rather than someone they feel they need to manage. It's easy to believe that being emotionally real means showing the weight of everything you feel, but sometimes the most emotionally intelligent move is to offer contrast, to show that connection with you can feel light again, not heavy. That shift in emotional tone doesn't just invite them back. It reminds them what made being with you feel good in the first place. When trying to reconnect with someone who is avoidant, matching their pace is absolutely crucial. Avoidants tend to pull back or slow down when they feel overwhelmed or pressured. So pushing too hard or moving faster than they're comfortable with will only reinforce their desire to retreat. The key is to meet them where they are and mirror their level of engagement, whether that's in texting, calls, or in-person interaction. This doesn't mean you have to lower your standards or accept less than you deserve, but it means understanding their rhythm and responding accordingly to build trust and safety. If they're replying with short, sporadic messages, flooding them with long paragraphs, or daily check-ins is a red flag to them, it feels like an emotional flood that they instinctively resist. Instead, keep your communication clear, light, and aligned with the energy they're giving you. When they send one-word replies, respond with concise, non-demanding messages. When they initiate less frequently, mirror that spacing so they don't feel overwhelmed or chased. This creates a subtle but powerful sense of balance, where they don't feel trapped by your expectations. As you mirror their pace, you're sending a message that you see and respect their boundaries. This builds their confidence that you won't push them too far, too fast. When someone knows their boundaries will be honored, they're more likely to lower their guard over time. Avoidants need to feel they are in control of how much closeness they allow, so matching their speed reassures them you're not trying to take that control away. But mirroring isn't about remaining static or stuck. Once you've established this rhythm, you can gradually and subtly raise your level of engagement, but only after they've taken a step forward. For example, if they respond to a text with a little more enthusiasm or reach out first, you can reciprocate with a slightly longer message or a more open invitation. The key word here is subtle. If you push too hard or too fast, the avoidant will shut down again. Small increases over time create a safe pathway for deeper connection. Mirroring their pace also means being patient with silence or space without filling every moment with messages or explanations. Sometimes just holding your own calm presence and responding appropriately when they do engage shows that you're steady and dependable, not someone who triggers anxiety or pressure. This balance allows avoidants to test the waters without feeling overwhelmed, making reconnection more natural and sustainable. Raising your value quietly is about showing that your life is full and meaningful, independent of the relationship. It's not about flaunting success or trying to make the other person jealous. Instead, it's about genuinely investing in yourself, your passions, your friendships, and your growth. When you do this, you naturally become more magnetic because people, especially those with avoidant tendencies, are drawn to individuals who have a strong sense of self and don't rely on others to define their happiness. Avoidants often pull away because they sense a neediness or emotional dependence that threatens their sense of freedom. When you're fully engaged in your own life, it communicates to them that you are emotionally self-sufficient. This makes you feel safer in their eyes because they don't feel like they have to carry the burden of your emotions or be responsible for your happiness. Instead, they can consider reconnecting from a place of genuine curiosity and choice, not obligation or pressure. This raising of your value isn't something you announce or demand attention for. It's reflected in your actions and your energy. It could be dedicating time to hobbies that bring you joy, nurturing friendships that uplift you, pursuing goals that challenge you, or simply taking care of your physical and mental well-being. These are quiet signals that say, I have a fulfilling life and I'm open to sharing it, but I'm not waiting for you to complete me. When an avoidant sees that you're thriving without them, it disrupts the dynamic of push and pull. Instead of chasing or trying to fix things, they start to wonder what it is about you that feels so different. Why you're not desperate or overly available. This curiosity can ignite their interest and create a subtle attraction that's based on respect rather than need. Raising your value quietly also means maintaining your boundaries and self-respect. It's easy to fall into old patterns of trying to prove your worth through constant attention or reassurance. But true value comes from authenticity and confidence. When you honor your own needs and desires, you set a standard that invites the avoidant to step up if they choose to, rather than feel forced. Ultimately, this process shifts the power dynamic in a way that encourages avoidants to reconnect on their own terms. They see you as someone who is whole, vibrant, and worth their time, not someone they have to rescue or control. That quiet strength is incredibly attractive and can be the catalyst for genuine reconnection. Inviting rather than demanding is a subtle but powerful way to encourage an avoidant person to reconnect without triggering their defenses. Avoidants often retreat when they feel cornered or pressured because they value their autonomy above almost everything else. When you approach them with demands or ultimatums, "We need to talk," "Why aren't you reaching out?" or "You have to choose me," it feels like a loss of control, and their natural reaction is to pull even further away. Instead, your approach needs to be gentle, open, and respectful of their space and timing. Inviting means creating opportunities for connection without forcing the issue. It's about extending an open hand rather than closing the door behind you. For example, you might say something like, "If you ever feel like catching up, I'd love to hear from you," or "I'm here whenever you're ready." These kinds of statements don't pressure the avoidant to respond immediately or commit to anything before they're ready. Instead, they offer safety and freedom, allowing the avoidant to decide when and how to engage. This respects their need for control and reduces the likelihood of them shutting down. Another important aspect of inviting rather than demanding is focusing on your own presence and availability without becoming needy. You want to signal that you're open and approachable, but also content and secure on your own. This creates a dynamic where the avoidant feels more comfortable coming back on their own terms because they sense that doing so won't trap or overwhelm them. When you invite instead of demand, you also communicate confidence and emotional maturity. You show that you're not desperate or afraid of losing them, but that you value connection enough to be patient and respectful of their process. This kind of energy is magnetic because it contrasts with the anxiety or neediness they often encounter in relationships. It's important to avoid creating pressure, even unintentionally. For instance, avoid sending multiple messages if they don't respond, or making statements that imply punishment or withdrawal if they don't engage. Instead, keep your invitations simple, kind, and open-ended. This approach plants a seed of possibility rather than pushing for immediate action. Ultimately, inviting rather than demanding allows the avoidant to feel empowered and safe to choose reconnection. When they realize they have the freedom to come back whenever they want without judgment or pressure, they're more likely to take that step. It's about creating a space where reconnection feels like an option, not an obligation. And that's when real connection can begin to rebuild. To wrap this up, remember that reconnecting with someone who has an avoidant attachment style isn't about control or forcing a specific outcome. It's about patience, respect, and creating the space where they feel safe enough to come back on their own terms. When you stop chasing, bring lightness into your interactions, mirror their pace, raise your own value quietly, and invite rather than demand, you shift the energy in a way that naturally opens the door for reconnection. Trust in this process, honor your own worth, and know that the right kind of connection will happen when both hearts are ready. Thank you so much for listening and investing this time in yourself and your growth. I hope these insights empower you to navigate your relationships with confidence and compassion. Wishing you clarity, strength, and all the best on your journey. Take care.